And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Netflix's original series, Tribes of Europa. Give me a thumbs up, it does help the channel a lot. Let me know if you've heard anything about this. But for now, I will be doing an ending review, so don't worry about it. You can listen to this with your heart's content and just kind of figure out if this is something you want to see. Let's jump into it. In 2074, in the wake of a mysterious global disaster, war rages between the tribes that have emerged from the wreckage of Europa. Three siblings from the peaceful origin tribe are separated and forced to forge their own paths. Okay, this is another one of Netflix's short series. There's 6 episodes, about 50 minutes apiece. It tends to be the way they go now to see if it's going to find a platform. It's a German-English series.
Wo ist mein Cube?
So although I would say probably 60, maybe 65% is in the German language, there's a lot of English spoken as well, which I thought was an interesting mix. So I guess if you're reading subtitles, you'll have to do a bit of both, which will be interesting. I think that'll be fine because I didn't find it an issue at all. When I needed subtitles, I had subtitles, and when it was English, it was English. It was fine. When I first started watching this, because I'd seen the trailer, I was intrigued, but I was a little bit worried. I do love German original series. I mean, Dark is one of the best series of all time. We also have one of the main characters from Dark in this who plays Moses, and he's fantastic. Anyway, I digress. I was a little bit skeptical when I went into the first episode because it felt like another generic, futuristic, post-apocalyptic series with teen angst, and that was going to be the thing. People are going to fight, there's going to be a MacGuffin that they have to fight for.
Something is coming.
Land, power, money, who gets this land, who's going to be in charge of that. It did feel like that in the first episode, mainly because you had these crows, one of the crows tribes come to get what this tribe that is living in the woods area. There's this crashed plane and they're trying to find what they have. Everybody's after this thing from the Atlanteans. If you've seen the trailer, you'll see the spaceship. It's this weird amalgamation of future tech with normal tech with no tech, and you have these people that have basically formed different tribes, like over 100. So it feels like a very realized world, which is part of the reason why I kept watching, because the costume design, the set design, all of that was really mysterious, and I quite like a bit of mystery.
We don't know what it is.
And then we have the Moses character, and that was very interesting. So the first episode was okay, but I was like, oh, what are you going to do with it? But I have to say, by the time I got to episode 6, I was totally invested and really wanted a lot more, which I was very surprised. I probably started around a D, and I'll let you know what my finished result, I guess, was at the end of the review. I like where they take this series. So it's all centered around one family, really. So that really keeps it personal. So because you have so much going on, and there's a lot of kind of exposition that they need to do to get you to understand what is happening in this world, because we have all the tribes, because we have all this future tech and this impending doom that's always on the horizon, and one tribe is stronger and just fights to the death, and that's how that tribe is, and the other one, they all have their different ideals, and that's very interesting to me. But because there's so much going on, because people are living by different rules, it would be easy for them to do large amounts of exposition dumping, but they don't do that here. A little bit, but mostly they do it in the journey of the characters. So it focuses on this one family who end up having been split up, and you want them to get back together, and that's kind of the story arc. There is the son who has something very important to the storyline. There is the father and another son who get taken to where the crows are. This all happens very early on, so don't worry. And so this family gets split up, and they each end up with like a different tribe, which I think is very interesting. And so you see this world from the different aspects, from the different tribes that they are, and that for me was very interesting. I'm really glad they went that way. It also goes much darker than I was expecting. It felt like a very young series at the beginning, but the more episodes you watch, the more you realize it's heightening up towards that adult. We have a sexual scene that I think some people are going to be very upset with, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some tweets about this, saying how can you have that in this day and age. But I thought it made it a much more realized moment, a very hard moment, and it kind of switched on. Normally when you have a woman with something that happens to a woman this way, there's a loud uproar. It'll be interesting to see what people will say about that episode when it airs. You'll know it when I'm talking about it. There is very vast difference in those color palettes according to what tribe you're visualizing, or what tribe you're seeing. The crows are very interesting. Their weapon designs, their makeup, their lore, it's all very hard hitting. You feel it. The actors really develop their characters even without telling you much. You get the sense of what they're about. And then you have the contrast of the other tribes, who have different laws of ways of doing things. The costumes all reflect that. The costumes, colors, and the way they carry themselves, the way they walk, all of that. It feels like a very well thought out world. I can imagine the planning that went on into this series was like months. It must have taken months and months to just kind of work out. Imagine storyboarding a whole world and then trying to take the viewer on a ride without losing them. And I think because they focus mostly on one family, they do a really good job. So you'll find your characters probably when you're watching this that you like more than others. I, for one, I liked Moses, as I've mentioned a couple of times already. I also really like the crows. Although they're the bad guys, I find them very intriguing. So I'm looking forward to what else we have with them in the future. So let me know how excited you are when you do see it. Let me know who's your favorite character and where you're hoping this series will go, because in the future I feel like the story is very vast. There's so much they can do with it. So I'm going to talk spoilers in a spoiler talk review for this series. I'm also going to talk the ending. There's a lot to talk about that. But for the most part, that's all I really want to share with you, is just how much I was intrigued by the journey of this, and how I started from a D and ended up at an A because of the development of the characters that just kept on growing on me. I liked what they were doing. I liked where they were going. So by the end, we've had some decent action sequences. Reminds me of like Mad Max meets The Patriot, almost meets some futuristic apocalyptic movies that I'm not going to mention to give stuff away, but there's just this amalgamation, but it's a very realized world. So that mixture, that creativity that we get, I feel like from the German creative minds, that kind of brought us Dark, and having one of those actors from Dark didn't hurt at all. I thought ended up making this series really entertaining. So I'm going to give it an A-. Let me know in the comments what you thought, or what you will think when you've seen it. Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long Tuesday.